Greetings to everyone present here. Legal Hut is a digital study platform providing material for legal learning, legal news, current affairs, and legal study material. It specializes in providing videos on various legal topics which are kept precise with essence of relevant laws. To provide our users the best content with efficiency and accordingly making law taste better is our motto. After organizing successful webinars in the past, Legal Hut is evolving as a one-stop destination for all the law aspirants. We at Legal Hut are working to bring together bright minds to give talks that are idea-focused and on a wide stream of legal subjects to foster learning. I am Bhumika Narang, founder at Legal Hut. I welcome you all to the webinar on power abuse among police officials. To have this extremely important session, we are delighted to have with us learned advocate Sanjay Kumar Chadda. He is a managing partner of a law firm named BSK Legal. BSK Legal is one of India's leading law firms, having its head office at New Delhi and other offices in Noida and Mumbai. The firm has an all-India presence through its alliance with local councils at different locations from all states and union territories of India. Being a full-service law firm, the firm is capable of providing legal services on all aspects of clients' business. The firm's domestic and international clients include leading private and public listed Indian companies, various government-owned undertakings, leading IT companies, banks and financial institutions, insurance companies, multinational companies, and other foreign entities. Mr. Sanjay Kumar Chadda is a very renowned personality who has appeared in various webinars and events. He has always been a helping hand for many young law aspirants. He is continuously working with the sole motive of spreading legal awareness. It's an honor for all of us to host you, sir. Before we start, there are a few housekeeping points. The format of the event will be that first Sanjay sir will share his views on the topic, following which we will open the flow of questions from the audience. I request everyone who is on streaming to drop their questions in the live chat below. So I think everyone has joined us. Can we begin, sir?
Most certainly. Thank you very much, Bhumika and Rahul, for organizing it. And as you have rightly said, it is always my endeavor to help, to do my level best for any upcoming, lawyer or anybody, wherever I can help them. Now, today's topic is very relevant. In today's context, we have seen Hathras case, we have seen, and it is almost, always a live topic, because we have seen incidences of police atrocities, police, abuse of power, excessive use of power, all that we've been seeing previously we have seen. I would say police abuse in power can also be termed as police brutality, excessive use of force, undue use of force by the law enforcement agencies. Violation of civil rights is the right word, I feel. And one more thing, it is not limited to the physical or verbal harassment. It includes not only physical, verbal harassment, but also mental injury, physical injury, as I said, property damage, and to the extent we have seen cases of custodian deaths. I will say it can be very small. During this Corona period, we have seen the beating by the police. Hundreds of such videos we have seen on our web or on our WhatsApp. Further, I just wanted to say that even from that kind of beating to the death, and immediately in my mind, the case of what happened in US, where two police persons killed a black person, and how after that killing, it has led to such such a big movement in the entire country, entire US. That's apart. We will be today concentrating on our own system, that is Indian legal system. What is the provision? What kind of such police abuses we find in our country? How to tackle them? Also, I will talk about. To begin with, to me, there's no such guideline or so somewhere it is mentioned. What I feel, I can divide these police atrocities in two, broadly in two formats, two ways. One is when the target is large number of people. For example, there where the sufferers are large in number, not from one family. And second would be the personal, one individual person or a family being the sufferer, victims, as we can call. If I take up the first case first, that is, if we talk about the first, where the target is large number of people, the best example of pre independence is the where the police patrol bet, police atrocities were seen during the British period. Now, what is that? Jallianwala Bagh Kand. It was a glaring example, I must say, the police atrocities, police brutality. What had happened? People, they had gone there. It was their duty to control it, but they maliciously, I would say, killed those thousands of people there in Jallianwala Bagh. If I may give another two, three more examples of where the target is a large number of people, not from one family or one particular individual. Bhagalpur uh, blinding case, where approximately 30 odd under trial prisoners were made blind by the police. So Bhagalpur blinding case, where these people were some chemical was put in their eyes and they were made blind. What a brutality. Similarly, another case, the judgment of which came about 1.5 years back, Hashimpura massacre case. What to say? Was it the duty of the police to protect? What was the duty of the administration and what they did? Very sad. Similarly, so these are the few examples. One example just came to my mind is Rampur Tiraha firing. What had happened, that Uttaranchal movement was on. I belong to Uttaranchal, so this incident I cannot forget entire of my life. In Rampur Tiraha, police did so many brutalities on these people who were trying to come to Delhi and demonstrate on 2nd of October, Mahatma Gandhiji's birthday. They wanted for a silent protest in Rajghat. They were killed. 10 people were killed. And there were allegations of rape and whatnot by the police. Now, these are the few examples where they have gone on rampant. The police has gone on rampant, and without even knowing much about the victims, they have done their brutalities. Now, I will take up few cases, very recent cases of atrocities based upon individual, if I may say individually. Now, during this Corona, 22nd June 2020, Tuticorin, custodian death of father-son duo. Both of them were killed. Not only killed, very sad to share with all of you, brutally tortured, sexually assaulted, beaten, and then murdered by the police, if I may say. And what was their fault? Their fault was they have kept open their shop during the lockdown, and that too after 8 o'clock in the evening. So is that what is my law says? Is that what we are governed by, the rule of law? Is it a jungle raj where we are living? Then again, I would like to mention very specifically, during this corona period, we have seen, if not 100, but in thousands of such videos where police uses lathi indiscriminately. Under what rule? Under what power? There is no such power in the law. Now, I would like to tell you one very bigger issue which is being raised n number of time, and it is very, very popular, is extrajudicial killing, as we call them, encounter killings, as they call it. But I call it extrajudicial killing. They say that it is in self-defense. I will touch base the history of this particular aspect, where during 1990s and 2000, that decade, we have seen that Mumbai police used it very, very, in a very, very often way to wipe out the underworld people. You see it. There are two angles of looking into it. One, there are people who are justifying it, but whether it is legal, I just put a question to myself. We, all my listeners today, as well as, we are law abiding people. We are governed by rule of law. In last 20 years, Mumbai police has done over 1200 such encounters, wiping out of under trials. Now, I'll give you various examples. I would like to mention here the names of few encounter specialists. Pradeep Sharma, who killed 312 people. Inspector Pradeep Sharma, encounter specialist. Daya Nayak, a film was made on him. 83 he killed. Praful Bose, 76 he killed. So what is this? Is this the right way of doing the duty? There is one aspect, as I said, there are one sect of people who support them. There are so many people who are glorifying their stories. But is it right legally? It reminds me of Punjab during 1984 to 1995. To stop, to curb the insurgency, police has used all kind of powers. In Gujarat, we have seen 2002 to 2006. What has happened? I don't know how many encounters were there. Sadiq Jameel encounter with Tulsi Ram Prajapati, Sohrabuddin, all these encounters were done. And we have got the substantiating proofs saying that these were not encounters. They were extrajudicial killings. That's what people say. What happened in Vikas Dubey's case? I'm not at all supporting these criminals. We all know who was Vikas Dubey. 64 criminal cases. Dreaded criminal, murder, rioting, extortion, attempt to murder, what not, all kind of offenses were there against him. Kidnapping, what not, all kind of, even he has killed a politician who was a cabinet minister, even though after 64 offenses were registered against him, cases were going on in the court, he was free. What he did, as unreported sources, people say that what he was doing, he was very close to the political akas. He was very close to them, so nobody could have touched it. There is a very big aspect of today's topic, which I think everyone should understand, is that police even work based upon the instructions of their political akas. This question is not something just for the sake of saying I'm saying. It is there. We see it. Why? Because Dubey was out. And why he was murdered? There is another story. I can give you 10 such examples which substantiate that it is not a encounter, but it is an extrajudicial killing. I'm not at all supporting Vikas Dubey. I want to say it very, very clearly. But the way he was killed was really wrong. Today, can you start applying the law eye for an eye? Is it possible? My dear friends, what will happen after a few years? All of us will be blind if this rule will be applicable in the country. We are governed by rule of law. We are not sitting in the jungle Raj. But we see incidences of this jungle Raj which I just mentioned. As per NHRC data, in 2002 to 2008, there were approximately 880 to be very specific, cases of extrajudicial killing. This much are reported. And if I may say so very clearly, that reporting of such incidences must be somewhere around 10% such cases are reported. And number of cases go without reporting. NHRC further says 2009 to 2013, in this period of 4 years, there were extrajudicial killing of about 555 cases. This data I am telling you from NHRC only. National Human Rights Commission data I am giving it to. In total, from 2000 to 2017, 17,082 such cases were there. And the top at the list was Uttar Pradesh. 45% of the total cases were from Uttar Pradesh. We have other incidences. I would like to name a few. Batla encounter, Batla House encounter. Then you have Pilibhit encounter. Such a sad story. Pilgrims, 11 Sikh pilgrims in the year 1991 were shot dead on the suspicion that they are terrorists. Commission was made. 47 police persons were imprisoned, and later on they were punished also. Very recently, that Priyadarshini case, Priyanka Reddy case, not Priyadarshini case. Priyanka, 6th December 2019. What had happened? I am not at all justifying the rape case, but these two cases are to be dealt separately. One is rape case, other is the brutal murder of those 4 accused persons. Is this our constitution provides for this? We provide for this kind of legal system where the FIR will be written by the police, the judgment will be given by the police in 2 days, and even the hanging will be done by the police within those 2 days. Is this what we want? I remember going to the television interviews for this particular topic. On the same day, There were people were celebrating. Why? Because they have seen that justice is not prevailing, because they have seen that these things which have happened in past Nirbhaya case, it took 7.5 years. Everything was crystal clear. So much of media pressure. Despite that, it took 7+ years that these criminals were hanged. So everybody was having this gussa, this rosh, that the judicial system, the criminal justice delivery system will take its own time. So it is better to shoot such people. I would say this is not correct. Now look at this. But the other part which is very, very important today is that even we see that in case such thing is happening, like what happened in Priyanka Reddy case, this particular thing is glorified. Look at it, just reminds me of various films. I can name them. Ab Tak Chhappan. They are glorifying such people. Batla House, Bardasht, Khaki, Singham. They are showing as if this Singham is the most powerful person. He is an inspector otherwise. सिंघम तो आई लेडी सिंघम भी आ गई थी एक और फिल्म. So such a way they are glorifying it. Now that is another example of. Now I would also tell you, what had happened in 1997 when seeing all these kind of atrocities, extrajudicial killing by the police. I remember Justice M.N. Venkat Chelaiya, who was the then National Human Rights Commission chairman, has recommended a set of recommendations to be followed, that what will happen and in what cases this encounter should be done. Two cases as it was provided. One was in self-defense. That is what is the advantage everyone is taking. And second is when section 46 of wherein if it is necessary to arrest the accused dreaded criminal and he is running, as provided in section 46. So, and in case any reporting is done wherein it is stated that this encounter is wrong, it is duty of the authorities to write, register in case, investigate such allegation. The investigation should be by an independent investigating agency, and in case there is something happen, it is the duty of the government administration to compensate the family. This is what National Commission has said. But I would also like to explain here for 2 minutes, because I know the time is also a little constrained today, because there are a lot of questions, as Bhumika was telling it to me. But anyways, I would also like to tell all of you the judgment of Supreme Court in the case of PUCL versus State of Maharashtra 2014, where a total 16-point guideline was given by the Supreme Court. Supreme Court very clearly stated that these are the guidelines in cases of how a case of encounter should be taken up. You have to immediately record if there is a tip-off in which you have to go and act. Police has to record that tip-off, then record immediately. An FIR should be recorded. Then independent proof should be done as recommended by the Chalaiya Committee, Venkat Chalaiya, I mean Venkat Chalaiya Committee. Magisterial proof, as stated by the Honorable Supreme Court in that case. Immediately, police have to inform the National Human Rights Commission. No delay should be there in all these things which are being stated. Similarly, or similarly, send a report to the central, inform the kins and relatives of the deceased, the offender or the criminal, as they say. And a report should be made by the Director General of the Police, which should be submitted within a period of 6 months. As I said, that is also made mandatory as per the PSU judgment. Then it was also further stated by the court that mm, in case of some, it is proved that it is an extrajudicial killing or something which is not a encounter, then immediately the compensation should be given to the people, the the family members of the criminal who's died. Now the question which is coming to my mind is, in this democratic country, we are democracy, we should be governed by rule of law, we should adhere to the due process of law, and we should either be governed by it or we should adopt this kind of practices. Right to life is given to each one of us, all of us, whether that criminal, and on this particular aspect civil judgments are there. Now this is what is extrajudicial killing, as I say. And I wanted to tell you, like in Telangana case also, I was going through a document today in the morning only, where Justice V.S. Sirpurkar committee was made, wherein because of corona they couldn't work. But I was reading there were about 1064 affidavits have been filed before the committee, which was supposed to give its report within 6 months. So that is going on. After such incidences, what happens is that a committee is made, and then proceedings are happen, and so on and so forth. But where we are heading today, what has happened in Hathras? Was it desirable? What was the need to, when this body was, why this was required that the body was not given to the family? This all is raising several questions in front of us. These are the bigger issues. I also want to touch base one very small issue. And in last 40 years, we are not even till today, we are unable to win over this issue. You try your level best. Many of you are budding lawyers, will be becoming lawyers very soon. It is very difficult in this country to register an FIR. Now, registering an FIR is a right. Several judgments have been given by our own high courts, constitutional court, Supreme Court in Lalita Kumari versus State of Bihar, State of Uttar Pradesh, have very clearly stated that in case of any cognizable offense, without wasting a minute, the concerned police official has to write an FIR. And on the other hand, when you see the practical aspect, you will see not even one police officer will write an FIR. They will waste their time. They will see 100 reasons not to write an FIR. They will tell you 100 reasons not to write an FIR. What is section 154? The word used in section 154 is shall. The police officer shall. It is not an option. In case of cognizable offense, the police has to record an FIR. But the reality is known to each one of us. We all know what is the reality. This is another, looking into this reality after the Nirbhaya case, if I may say for a minute, after the Nirbhaya case, what was that committee? Justice J.S. Verma committee. That committee has recommended several changes in the criminal law, and a very important recommendation of the committee, which became a rule today, which is a law, is concept of zero FIR. In 2014, we saw an advisory was issued by the central government to all the states, all the police officials, to the extent all the police stations of the country, that in case there is little difficulty in seeing the territorial selecting the territorial jurisdiction, the police should immediately write the FIR based upon the information, and if there is a territorial jurisdiction crisis pertaining to that, you can please register an FIR without number, zero number FIR, and later on the investigation can be shifted to the correct territorial jurisdiction. But what has happened to that? If I may say, what would have been the fate of Priyanka Reddy case would not have been the same if at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, when the father had approached the nearby police station, the police station should have recorded a zero FIR and have started the investigation. That daughter of ours might not have died. So that's what is the state of affairs. After independence, lot of efforts are being done, and many committees are framed. National Police Commission 77 to 81 was framed, and new law. I remember, I can recollect two committees. One was Rabero, J.S. Rabero Committee, 1998. Padmanabhan Committee, 2000. 2005, they made Police Act Drafting Committee, 2007 also. Then Prakash Singh case, another committee was framed. So, lot of efforts being done, even to change the police system. Police Act was also, recommended to be changed. Now, that shows that n number of things which are known to us. We are well aware what are the defects, what are the demerits, what are the loopholes, if I may say, in our legal system, which are prevailing, because of which the police atrocities, police abuse of power, excessive use of force, undue use of force, violation of civil rights, different names are there. Now, I also want to, for 2 minutes, I'm getting a signal that already 35 minutes have done. I will lastly touch two things, and then we will have question answer sessions wherein you can put in your questions and I will try and reply them. I wanted to tell you 2006 judgment of Prakash Singh versus Union of India, wherein the Supreme Court very categorically recommended 7 recommendations for the governments to follow. All the state governments were to follow these recommendations. And I have to say that these recommendations were there for improving the system. With a very open mind, these recommendations were given to all the states, and states were required to follow these recommendations. But unfortunately, half of such recommendations have not seen the daylight. Many of these recommendations are not being followed by many of the states. What are those recommendations? First recommendation was that every state will have a state security commission, wherein they have to see that the police does not work under the influence of the political leaders, politicians. That is one. Committee was supposed to evaluate the working of the police system in the state. Unfortunately, many of states, they formed it, but it is just a eyewash. The requirement as per the judgment, Prakash Singh judgment 2006, was this, that these committees will analyze independently the working of the police. The whole year they will analyze what all has happened, cover all the important incidences, and then submit a report in the legislature, state legislature, and that report will be discussed in the state legislature. What a brilliant thought, I must say. Everything would be discussed by the lawmakers. But what happened? Nothing happened. Nothing great. Now, I feel it is 14 years have passed, 14 years have gone, and I don't think anybody has ever seen such discussion in any of the state legislative assemblies. So, state security committees, which were supposed to be found, take place. They were made by few states, but nothing happened further. They remained in the paper only. The second recommendation of this judgment was that investigative wing should be separate. In the police, there should be separate wing for investigation, for everything. There should be a separate wing. Further, the judgment has also stated that the police official should be trained how they have to behave when a woman is there, how they have to behave when a mob is standing, what are the techniques, how they have to peacefully handle. It reminds me of another judgment which came on 30th of September 2020 on Shaheen Bagh demonstration. What Supreme Court said? Supreme Court said that for these small things you are coming to Supreme Court? Where is the administration? It was the duty of the administration to look after such cases. And to one step ahead, the Supreme Court further said that it is a failure of administration. If you are unable to control a demonstration, you are unable to convince your own people, you are unable to convince your own citizens, then what kind of administration is this? The judgment of Prakash Singh has also said that there should be a complaint authority, police complaint authority should be there. But anyone, can you please tell me which state has made a police complaint authority which will be recording the complaint against the police? None of the states have. Special training to the police should have been done. The appointment of the police officer should be for a fixed period. Even the appointment of DGP should be done in a transparent manner. When the government is changed, we see the practice is this, that if in a state a government is changed, immediately the top police officials are also changed. The favorite police officers of the leaders will take over. So there were several recommendations. These recommendations were not followed. Another aspect which I want to touch base for 2 minutes, and then we will go to the question answer session. I feel there is a eminent need that our police system should now adopt the technical and scientific aid for their investigation. Lie detector tests should be used, narco test, n number, like so many of such things are there. Lie detector, narco test, polygraphic test, and what else? Barometric polygraphy, and many other things are there which our system should adopt, which we should use them. Electronic surveillance in each police station, you put such a cameras, everything should be, that surveillance should be very strongly used. So that's what I feel, that, and very very categorically, very very clearly, the power abuse is existing in the police, and I would say not only existing, but it is increasing also day by day. During this corona period, we have seen large custodian death. Another aspect which I would like to say, 2 minutes I would like to just mention about it. Every day more than 5 people die in custody. That Tuticorin case is one of the examples. Without any fault, they killed the father and son. So that's, in a year we find that about 2000 custodian, 1700 to 2000 custodian deaths are there. Today there is an imminent need to rewind, to see, check why these recommendations, guidelines, Venkat Chalaiya committee report, Supreme Court guideline in PUCL, Supreme Court guideline in Prakash Singh, why they are not followed. The major reason, what I feel, why they are not followed is lack of political will. The day our politicians will understand the need of a poor people, the need of the system, a good system, that day only this will come. And here, because this is such a topic where you have to stop me. You have to ask me now questions. Otherwise, I'll keep on talking about it. This is so many incidents every day you find. So I would request now Rahul and Bhumika to please take over. If there are whatever are the questions, I am very ready to answer these questions.
Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening words. I think it is going to help many of us. So, if you allow, shall we start with question and answer round?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm sorry. I'm already there. Please start your questions. I will try my level best to answer.
So the first question that we have from live chat is, how can we stop the abuse of police officials when they are misusing their powers in such heinous crimes like rape and are taking bribe instead providing justice?
Tanishka Chauhan has asked this question. It's a question which has come before the courts, the judicial authorities several times. And as I just mentioned, the two judgments I had mentioned, PUCL judgment as well as the judgment of Prakash Singh. Prakash Singh is a very senior IPS officer. And so on that judgment, a lot of guidelines are given. We have to have a police complaint system. In case there is some complaint you have to file, you can very well go and file the complaint. but there is nowhere place to file it. That body is still not made. So the most important aspect is whatever existing system recommendations are existing, we have to ask the government to follow this. That is one thing. Second, in the current scenario, if may I ask, the only way left with the people is one, to approach the courts, constitutional courts, to be very specific, high courts and Supreme Court in case of this kind of thing. And the bigger medium today, which I feel is very, very important, is medium of social media. Please put these violations, abuses on social media and see that these people will work for you. That's what is I feel. Social media can be used in a very, very positive manner, and that's what I feel.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question that we have is the power abuse because of the hierarchical structure or because of political interference?
Most certainly, as I said, the Nischal, this is certainly power. This abuse is, there is some reason behind it. Otherwise, nobody will go and do some wrong act. The same fundamental rule will applicable to police also. Till the time they have some, either they are lured because of some monetary benefit or something, or there is some political interference, political pressure from up, and that is the reason they do this kind of activity. Why Vikas Dubey was murdered? I don't say it is a encounter. Why he was murdered? If you give me 2 minutes, I will just tell you what all are the, I will give you 10 points now, at least 10 points, how Vikas Dubey was murdered. I'm not saying that he was a very sane, but if at all murder this has to be that he has done several crime, he should be hanged. So there is a due process. We have to adopt that due process. That is what is rule of law. There are, Vikas Dubey's allied Amar Dubey was arrested in Faridabad. He was taken into judicial custody, and then from Faridabad to this place he was taken. What is the name of the place? From Faridabad he was taken there, but on the way he was killed. Same thing was, this Vikas was apprehending that he will also be killed because he was having a lot of secrets of politicians. So those politicians, this is what is an open secret. Everybody says so. So there was a clear-cut instruction to the police to indulge in such kind of activity. This is what is reported by so many media houses. So what was the objective? Objective was this, that if he will be caught, he will be asked, he will open the names of other people, which will cause ruckus, which will cause lot of problem for existing power giants. This person, Vikas, was arrested in Ujjain. He was arrested in the morning. He was going for the morning darshans. Then from there, why you started in the evening, rather late at night, the journey from Ujjain to this place? Why? Because it was fixed that you are going to do something in the way. And the worst thing which I would say, the police has not taken any judicial custody. They have not produced him before the court, Ujjain court. Why they have not produced? The procedure is this only. The police does not know the procedure. Police knew the procedure, but accountability would have been fixed in that case. So they decided deliberately not to produce Vikas Dubey before the court. Now, in one car you were going, he was taken in one car. from uh, that toll gate, Barabol gate, toll gate, if I'm not wrong. In that gate, the camera shows that he is sitting in some other car, Safari, I think. And from there, how he was shifted to another car. The DG police says that no vehicle was changed. Interviews there, but he died in the another car. The toll gate video shows that he died in. He was sitting very much in the middle of two police persons. He was sitting. The camera shows that. But from when he was shifted to other vehicle, when that vehicle got accident, and even accident takes place, and in the accident, the vehicle is just is turned off. No glasses are broken. Nothing has happened to the vehicle. How he came out, how he snatched the arms, even the death body. It was on that day it was raining. If he would have ran into the what you call the fields, there should be some मिट्टी कपड़ों पे को मिट्टी वगैरह लगेगी कि नहीं लगेगी. His clothes were absolutely clean. So that clearly shows that it was not a case of encounter. It was a just extrajudicial killing. It was I would say, murder. But people are getting happy because of this, that at least the police have done something, some brave act. That's what is if one section of people are saying so. But I'm once again repeating that we cannot follow this rule that eye for an eye should be the rule. We can't follow it. The day will be there, then all of us will be blind. So please take up the next question, Bhumika.
Yes, sir. So the next question that we have is, does power abuse among police officials a leading threat to society? How can it be curbed, keeping in mind the safety of women?
Look, there's no doubt about it that it is a leading threat to the society. If there is some rules, laws are made and they are not followed, in that case, what will happen? Such rules, regulations, if they are not followed, it will be ultimately harm the society. Ultimately, it will benefit very few people. If a dreaded criminal is tried, like one example I wanted to give you. As per one report, it was shared by DG Police Vikram Singh ji, I remember, in one of very recent program, where he said that in 1920, the number of dacoities recorded in 1920 were high than in 2020. What is the meaning? Meaning thereby that now the crime has reduced 100 years, 1920 and 2020. This is the data of the Uttar Pradesh police. Now, anybody can digest it. What is the reason for that? The only reason is you don't write FIR. Don't write FIR. It is in your hand. But what will happen? Ultimately, there will be a chaos. These people who are in power can do anything. Is it what we want? It is what is the true spirit of democracy. Is it what is the true spirit of democracy? No, it is not the true spirit of democracy, my dear friend. The true spirit of democracy is that even a small case each and every case should be reported. What will happen? Initially, you will have a lot of FIRs, number will increase. But later on, when every crime is put to a scrutiny, the criminals will afraid from doing the crime. So it is very, very clear. In case these offenses are not recorded, if it is not recorded, that means it is not happened. And if you say that crime has not happened, it is Ram Rajya. Is it so? No, it is not so. It will not lead to this particular conclusion that we have attained the right thing. We have attained the Ram Rajya, if I may say so. By not recording the FIR, you can't attain Ram Rajya. Offenses will be there. The number will be increasing every day. It is the requirement that we must see that all the FIRs are recorded, especially in cases of offenses against the women. What was the recommendation of our own JS Verma committee? What has happened to zero FIR? What had happened to all those, the immediate writing of an FIR? Nothing is happening. There is a need, very, very eminent need to initiate these things. These recommendations should be followed in full strength, full spirit. Next question, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you. The next question that we have from live chat is very interesting, which says, don't you think heinous offenses to be tried in special courts so as to ensure that the encounter or anything does not happen and people also feel safe from antisocial elements?
Like to this, what happens is, I'm reading the question once again. All right. So what the meaning of this, very correctly said, to not have offenses, you can't wipe out the, if you adopt this method that somebody is harmful to the society, let us wipe him out. No, that is not the right word. That is not the correct thing. Eye for an eye example, third time I'm telling in this session, is not the correct thing. The recommendations, PUCL versus state of Maharashtra 2014, are 16 guidelines were given by the Supreme Court. So if these 16 guidelines are adopted in true spirit and sense, then I don't think there will be any problem. Such incidences, no police officer will kill anybody if he will have this in his back of his mind that in case he does this thing, he will be held liable. He will never do it. But why they do it then? Why we have seen Daya Nayak, Sharma, Bose, these people, why? Because they are getting protection. They know that nothing will happen to them. This thing has to go. And time has come that we have to really agitate about it. We have to, as officer of the court, all lawyers have to raise these questions. We have to not welcome the encounter of Vikas Dubey. We have to not welcome the encounter of the killers of Priyanka Reddy. We have to see, it should be handled in the true spirit of law. Both the incidents should not be joined. Rape incidents is separate. Encounter or extrajudicial killing, as I say, is different. So you have to not club together. See them separately. Thank you.
So the next question that we have is, if such things like because of political interest, person is going to be killed, like Vikas Dubey, then don't you think idea of Article 21 of Constitution is violating?
Yes, very true. Very true, Aditi Garg. Idea of, all of you must have read various judgments of Supreme Court. Supreme Court has very categorically stated that the right to life does not mean mere existence. It is the right to life, right to live with dignity, a dignified life. And each one of us has that right. Whether you are a criminal, you have that right. A dignified life right is what you have. Whether we are adopting this into true spirit, no. The answer is no. If the answer is yes, then why this kind of incidences? There is a need that in its true spirit we have to adopt the the important point given in Article 21, which is the most fundamental of the all fundamental rights: right to live with human dignity. We have to live with human dignity. Such incidences are not part of uh, a civilized society, if I may so. It's a clear cut violation of civil rights. It's a clear cut violation of human rights. You may ask next question, please.
Yes, sir. So there is a question from live chat which says whether the beating done by police during the lockdown justified or not. In the name of law, in the cover that the lockdown rule is broken.
Absolutely, I have given this example also. The how this lathi, as I may say, can be used. Absolutely illegal. This is not at all legal. Even you see what was the you see, go by the law. What are the provisions of law? All the 5-6 acts which are attracted here, whether Pandemic Diseases Act 1897, all the 4-5 provisions, whether they allow police to hit by lathi, no. Our own sections of IPC which are violated, whether 166, whether 191, 188, whether they are violated, whether they allow the police to use lathi, no. What is that? Another act, even Police Act does not provide for use of lathi. Force is to be used only for the purpose of arrest. And what is the quantum of force, that is also very well defined. So in no case it is justified that during the lockdown period the use of the lathi was wrong. And as one more thing, Bhumika, I wanted to say here, that even in the judgment, the Supreme Court has said that in case there is a some complaint is to be registered against the police officer, there should be a monitoring body for that. Police complaint registered cell should be made, and none of the states have made it. 2006, this judgment has come. Prakash Singh versus Union of India. 14 years have passed. No state have followed it. What is the reason? Because it is lack of political will. No politician is going to get any benefit out of it. If such committees are made, why to अरे और ज्यादा परेशानियां बढ़ जाएंगी, इसको रहने ही दो. This is what is the answer, they say. If there will be more complaint, it will be part of the newspapers, so it will create problem for politicians. Keep the चादर डाल के रखो, ढक के रखो इस चीज को. That's what they say.
Exactly, sir. So the next question that we have is, how efficient would the Advocates Protection Act be in reference to power abuse among police officials?
There is a no. I would like to give one example before answering this question. Unnao rape case. The advocate who was trying to represent the victim side was attacked. I think he was murdered also in an accident. Is this the fate of an advocate? That is the reason there is a long pending demand to make an Advocate Protection Act, so that in cases where a person who is representing the victim in the court of law should fearlessly, without any fear, he represent the client, and he should be given protection. And in case some wrong is done to him, there should be an appropriate legal provision to safeguard his interests. And it is very, very true, the second part of this question, that in cases of power abuse by the police officials, they first catch hold of the advocates. And I am very, sad to share with all of you that 70-80% of lawyers, they get convinced by these people. But I would say even one person, if one person stands, that is our hero. So don't worry. In case such thing happens, we have to stand for the cause, for the benefit of the society. Even if one person stands, हमारे पीछे से ही क्या बोलते हैं कि वो लाइन शुरू होगी, फिर तो घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है. We have to be strong enough, and we have to feel it like this, that this profession is so pious. It is, you can help so many people, I must say, and you are fortunate that you are in this profession. So certainly, Advocate Protection Act, which is not there to my knowledge, there is a need of a Advocate Protection Act.
Yes, sir. Now, the next question that we have from live chat is, as per the opinion of speaker, what sort of amendments are needed in Act pertaining to Police Act for the smooth functioning of administrative system?
Oh, Police Act. I don't know whether you are aware of it or not. I think the Police Act which is enforced today is 1861 Act. So that is one thing. Second, during the course of my discussions, I had mentioned how many committees have been made, Rabero committee to all committees. There are n number of committees are made. And I must say, many recommendations have been made several times. But as I said, lack of political will. And so many things, just wanted to share with you. If this police system is corrected, the demerits of this system are rectified, and if good force is given to this system, I feel half of our problems will be solved. Half of these things will be solved. If you go to a police station in Delhi, the things are little better, I must say. But if you go to a police station in any of our countryside, you will see the conditions are so worse. The police, even in Delhi, I must say, the police people have to stay like they are staying in, their conditions are really very bad. I don't want to go into that. It's such a big, police reforms is such a big issue. We can have a full discussion on it. Certainly, cutting short the entire story, entire thing, that certainly there are requirement of amendments in the Police Act. There are requirements of improvement in the police. Police is a very important part of criminal justice delivery system. The keymost, the entire investigation takes place under them. We have to take out several measures. I must say, those Prakash Singh committee, once again I am repeating, all Prakash Singh case, where the 7 recommendations were there. If these recommendations are followed in full spirit, there will be a sea change, I must say. And if the police system is changed, rectified, corrected, I don't feel we will be able to see all this kind of things which we discussed. The abuse of power. We will then be missing all become a story. Bhumika.
Yes, sir, absolutely. Sir, now I have a personal question from you, the question in which I have a doubt. If a police officer miss out some sections in an FIR, then a layman person do not have any idea about sections. So in such cases, what can be done? What measures can be taken?
Well, Bhumika, uh, uh, look, what happens is when initially a police report is filed, that is, we call initial, when a report is filed, that is called FIR, First Information Report. And it is very common that in First Information Report, you, let's say, write 3 sections. I'm just hypothetically giving you example. While during the course of investigation, the police find that there are other few sections which are also attracted. So these sections can be very well added. There is nothing wrong in it. And the final outcome of the investigation is charge sheet. So in charge sheet, all the sections should be added. Now, in addition to it, this is what after the entire investigation is done. So at first stage, answer to your question is, at first stage, if some section is missing, that can be certainly added at the later stage of investigation. That is one aspect. Second, once the police files in charge sheet, in the court also, if you want, you can present your case. Even there is a in the process of the trial, the accused is given an opportunity to argue his case at the stage of charge. And we have seen that at the stage of charge, court adding or deleting certain sections. So this is a regular practice, Bhumika. If the defense counsel is able to demonstrate before the court with substantiating evidences and documents, and prima facie it looks that this section which has been imposed by the police is not at all attracted in the case of the police itself. So the court has all power to not charge the accused for that offense. Or if some new section is to be added, the court can add. So at both the places, even before the police or before the court, the sections can be added or can be deleted.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question that we have from live chat is, how far the abuse of police officials in the Hathras case affect the victim, her family, and against freedom of press?
Well, certainly, as now the case is with CBI, which is our apex, I must say, investigative agency, and one of all the top-notch officials from the country are part of this. I must say, one of the most important investigative agency of our country. So whatever has happened, certainly it has affected all of us, all, even the victim's family. Even the freedom of press is really affected. Press is called to be the fourth pillar. They have not allowed them to go inside the village for 2 days. So it is a violation of that, no doubt about it. And I feel each one of us, even the court has also criticized them. If you recall, on 1st of October, the Allahabad High Court took a suo motu cognizance, and they started the order, 9-page order. I have gone through that order. 9-page order was passed, wherein they have taken care of this particular aspect, the victim's family. And on 12th, that is tomorrow, the court has asked the victim's family to remain present before the court, and they have given this duty of making them appear to the district judge Hathras, who will bring these family members before the court. So court, on its own motion, suo motu, has not only criticized the police working, they have raised the question how the police has done the funeral at night, under what provision. All those things are being raised. Freedom of press is also being raised, and tomorrow all of us will be seeing what will happen in the Allahabad High Court. Next question, if you have.
Yes, sir. The next question that we have from live chat is, do you think that police system is mostly misused by various ruling ministers in order to show their power over people?
Look, Nirupan is one of my students. She's doing rather the internship with us. Very correctly said that yes, these police have, during my discussion also, if you remember, Bhumika, I said that the politicians, the ruling class, has an effect on the working of the police. No doubt, I would agree with what Nirupan has said, that police system is mostly misused by various ruling ministers in order to show their power over people, as she has written. I've read it from there. Yes, that is correct, that this is what is a very sad state of affair. We see that the ruling class, they misuse the police because the police comes under them. That is the reason today I would, in a very, very, I would like to convey through you, through this medium, that what are the recommendations given in the cases by Supreme Court. It is the eminent need of the hour that these recommendations should be followed. There should be a committee made. That committee should do yearly review of the working of the police. They should immediately file a report before the legislative assemblies, where that report should be discussed. It should be put before the House, and House should discuss it. These all things should be practically implemented. There should be a mechanism where in case some complaint is to be registered against some police officer, we should be allowed to register that complaint. So these recommendations should see now daylight, and the moment these things will be there applied, I feel many of our questions will be answered. Next question, please, if at all.
Yes, sir.
अभी कितने क्वेश्चन है भाई?
This is the last one, sir.
Okay, great.
This is
Thank
the
you.
last question. What is the use of sending the accused to the jail who have done some heinous crime, especially in case of habitual offender or repeat offender? Wasting money by giving them financial offender as an accused.
Yes. I know. So this is a question which we see many a time. It reminds me of people writing about Kasab, that why biryanis are being served to him who has done so much wrong. So biryanis, it doesn't mean that biryanis were served to him, but as a matter of fact, why money is being spent on such a hardcore criminal and everybody knows about it. The answer to this question is that we are governed by the system. Our criminal justice delivery system is there, wherein all and each one of everybody has a right to be, to have their defense. So without which, it is a process cannot move. A defense lawyer is must in every criminal case. The criminal jurisprudence also says so. So that is one aspect. Second is, a criminal, accused is an accused. He is not guilty till the time the court announces him to be a person who has done done an offense. The court passes an order, then only an accused become an offender. So it is our legal system. The requirement is of our legal system. The only answer to this is that we should have a speedy justice delivery system. We should have quick disposal of such cases. Then I think this problem will not be there. Otherwise, it is mandatory for all of us, till the time the trial goes on, they have to remain in the jail, and that is what is the requirement.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think we are done with the queries here. Thank you so much, sir, for coming from your busy schedule in such a short notice. I think everyone has enjoyed this session. So one last time, you want to give any message to your students and advocates that is going to help us?
Well, two things I want to say. One is that always keep doing your work with positive spirit, with honesty. You do your work. There will be a lot of hurdles. Don't take any shortcut. Don't go for shortcut. I don't think it is difficult to work. It is not difficult to achieve any milestone which you think. It is your hard work, killer instinct, honesty. You can achieve whatever you think of. One. And the profession in which many lawyers are here, lawyers are there, and the law students who are here today. I wanted to tell you that it is a very, very important profession. First of all, it gives you a responsibility. It is not some profession where you just go and earn your bread and come back home. It is a profession which gives you one responsibility towards the society. If you work for the better thing, I know the future of this country is very bright and it is good in your hands. So do your work with full honesty. Success will be 100% yours. Believe it, I'm telling you. Thank you very much. That's all. And
Yes,
one more thing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you. And I really appreciate Bhumika and Rahul, who have, conducted this entire webinar, or whatever you call it, the seminar. And they are doing this activity. I'm very, very happy today that they are doing it for spreading the legal awareness. And that is what is my motto also, Bhumika. Wherever I get an opportunity, I am there for, it is our duty, it is our moral duty to spread legal awareness not only among the students, but only amongst all the masses, so that such kind of things don't happen. Nobody can make fool of you. Police cannot, misuse their powers. Law is there. So let us spread this legal awareness jointly with all of us, all the budding lawyers. Please spread it. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you so much, sir, for your guidance. For everyone who is now on streaming, the link of the feedback has been dropped in live chat and will also be sent to the WhatsApp group. So please fill that form. We hope that your suggestion is going to help us. Last but not the least, thank you so much for being such a wonderful audience and making this event a great success. Please keep checking our Instagram page and YouTube channel for updates of upcoming videos and events. So I think we should wind up this session. Thank you so much, sir, once again. This is Legal Hut signing.
Thank you.